from our 7 Tasmania studios. Your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Well, voters in 3 southern electorates head to the polls tomorrow to determine the makeup of the Legislative Council. For more, we're joined by reporter Ruby Cairns. Ruby, tomorrow's results could alter the finely balanced upper house.
That's right, Kim. 3 seats are up for grabs tomorrow, Prosser, Alwick and Hobart, and just who wins them could shift the voting balance in the Legislative Council. While more than 16,000 Tasmanians have already voted, parties were out today making their final pitches to the community. Former Greens leader Cassie O'Connor has thrown her hat in the ring for Hobart, where a high Green vote is expected.
We've knocked on thousands of doors, had hundreds and hundreds of conversations with voters, and there is a good Green vibe out there.
She's up against former Tasmanian Australian of the Year and Labor candidate John Kamara. Alwick has emerged as a battle between Glenorchy Mayor Beck Thomas and Labor's Tessa McLaughlin, while Prosser is likely to come down to Labor's Brian Green and Liberal candidate Kerry Vincent. There are 49 voting centres open tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 6 o'clock, Kim.
Anti-whaling vessel the Bandero may be forced out of port in Hobart earlier than expected over fees and charges. The ship's captain says it's being hit with a commercial rate instead of a private yacht fee.
And then we were very much looking forward to being back down here. It's a great city, and we hope that'll be reconsidered and that the ship can stay for a couple of months.
Environmentalist Bob Brown is urging the government to reconsider the fee.
I've written to the Premier this morning asking him, because Tasports is a government corporation, to look at this.
Tasport's chief executive says all vessels, whether private or commercial, are charged the same fee. Tuesday's breakaway voyage by the historic Wuna is a major setback to plans for its restoration. The group, which owns the rusting vessel, says the anchor chain which snapped was inspected just months ago.
Built in the 1950s, the Wuna's had many jobs over the years: a pilot cutter, a training boat, even hosting swanky parties in Sydney Harbour. But when it was donated to the Victorian Maritime Centre in 2013, it needed some love.
We set about, over 2 years, restoring the ship back to somewhat seaworthy.
They'd planned to sail it to Melbourne for display, but couldn't find a berth. Left sitting in Bell Bay until early Tuesday morning when the anchor chain snapped, sending it floating with the outgoing tide.
And it could have been a lot worse, and thanks to the quick action of Tasports, there was a disaster was averted.
Divers inspected the chain late last year, finding it had deteriorated, but there was no immediate risk. Marine and Safety Tasmania advising they lift the anchor for repairs. But the volunteer organisation says it's been trying for months to secure a berth at port to conduct restoration works.
So we needed to get back alongside and spend 3 or 4 months there cleaning the vessel and getting all the systems up and running again.
Planning to make the Wuna seaworthy again, a passion project for veterans to restore and run.
It'll take time, there's no doubt about that. She's been let go for a long time.
And with 48 cabins on board, there's plenty of space to host those who've donated to get the Wuna back to ship shape.
Wuna has a massive following. The ship is loved throughout Australia, and we need to ensure that the survival of Wuna.
Tasports says safety concerns remain unaddressed and it's taking advice from MAST and the EPA. Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
After spending months at sea, Tasmania's beloved Neil the seal is back. While the news of his return is bound to get the public excited, experts are urging Tasmanians to respect his space.
The word is out. Neil is back.
Neil, someone lives here.
The state's favourite southern elephant seal has returned to our shores.
We're really pleased to confirm that he's turned up again in the southeast. Predictable. We knew he was going to turn up at this time of year to come ashore and rest.
Neil the seal became an online sensation after making his presence known in a number of coastal towns last year.
He broke all my signs.
Since his last sighting in December, Neil's been busy.
He's just spent 5 months at sea, feeding, constantly feeding, putting on more weight. He is getting bigger and bigger.
His exact location, though, is being kept top secret.
So we're really keen to keep that location hidden for now, and we really ask that everybody doesn't share his location if they come across it.
The 3.5-year-old's causing for some concern amongst marine experts.
You must never crowd around them so that they feel like they have no option for escape.
There is a risk of essentially loving Neil to death.
If you do happen to stumble across Neil, the message is clear. Stay at least 20 metres away. That's not just for Neil's safety, but for the public's as well.
They're a wild animal, so they're not used to having humans all around them.
It seems you just can't keep a good seal away for long. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Labor is urging the state government to press on with the Tamar Valley Irrigation scheme without further delay in a bid to boost jobs and investment in agriculture.
New irrigation schemes are critical for this industry, and particularly the Tamar scheme needs to go ahead.
The rollout certainly hasn't been delayed. Tas Irrigation at the moment are assessing water assessments that have been put to them.
The Primary Industries Minister was also on hand at Agfest to announce $430,000 for a new calf yard at Tasmanian Quality Meats at Cressy. While Agfest is an opportunity for farmers to see the latest in agriculture, it also serves as a learning tool for Tasmania's students. Hundreds given an insight into life on the land.
Hatching a potential career in agriculture. Keen students from across the state making the most of the second day of Agfest.
Some of the chicks that the kids absolutely love, some hands-on things.
Equipping youth with the skills they need for a life in farming is the specialty of the Hadley Farm School, giving every attendee at the field day a chance to sample what its curriculum offers.
Tasmania is a huge agricultural state, and we've got such a large proportion of our state that haven't got an understanding about agriculture.
Students from all walks of life represented in the crowd at Quirkers Park, including Launceston Grammar, which has a tent on 7th Avenue.
The kids love it. Not just a day off school, like so many of our students just come and drop in and say hello.
The school's headmaster encouraging his students to explore a vocation in land and farm management.
Agriculture is one of those immersive areas of life, so there are so many opportunities within it.
As children get inspired for the future, the adults will either looking for a hard bargain,
the clothing sales mainly, yep,
or eager to look at the many demonstrations on display.
Well, we've got a little one here who's pretty keen to see some animals. I'm pretty interested in the craft tents and some food, actually.
Soaking in a parade of all things country. Mark Zeta, 7 Tasmania News.
A graduate midwifery program is hoping to fill the void of missing midwives in Tasmanian hospitals, giving students a chance to work alongside new mums and bubs. Calvary confirming the fast-tracked placement is already delivering positive results.
4-day-old Annabelle is still settling into life outside the womb after her somewhat sudden entry into the world.
A little bit of surprise. I didn't think I was in labour. I was just coming in to get checked out. I wasn't sure if my waters had broken or not, and it turns out they had.
Reese and Marnie are just some of the proud parents who had Larry Dunnett at their side. He's Calvary Hospital's first male student midwife, doing placement through a graduate midwifery program.
Happily, I've been encouraged that most women can see past just gender and can see that I'm someone that just wants to support women and I've got empathy for them.
The year-long program allows students like Larry to get paid and learn. With International Midwives Day this Sunday, he's encouraging others to consider the career.
The opportunity to follow women through their pregnancy, and so you meet them antenatally, you're on call for their labour and birth, and then you get to look after them postnatally.
Midwifery workforce in Australia is small per the amount of births that we're seeing, and Tasmania is incrementally larger.
With hopes more programs can be introduced, encouraging students to stay in Tassie.
People go away and take contracts elsewhere, and we need to nurture and commit to having people here.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's police ranks have been bolstered with some fresh faces, ready to serve and protect the community. Loved ones watching on as 21 new constables joined the thin blue line.
Marching with pride and honour, family and friends on hand as 21 new constables joined Tasmania's front line.
It's definitely high emotions, just seeing the support of your family, of the police service, just everyone coming together to congratulate you on something you've been working towards for 31 weeks.
For others, there's relief after months of rigorous training.
It's been a long 8 months. Test you in all aspects, physical and mentally.
It's a first career for some, but for others it's an exciting new chapter proving age is no barrier.
I feel really proud that I've been able to do it as a 52-year-old woman.
Today's graduates bring the number of serving police to a record high. 1,480 officers are now on the beat, stationed across the state, with 6 each headed to the west and the northern districts, while 9 will start out in the south.
Seeing 21 people starting their career today, it makes us all very proud.
And for anyone else considering a career serving and protecting the community,
just believe in yourself, I think. Probably surprise what you're capable of if you apply yourself.
Rebecca Gaidaneris, 7 Tasmania News.
Legal aid has turned 50. Established by the Labor government in the 1970s to help those who couldn't afford a lawyer, the service has evolved over the years, with women making up 82% of its workforce in Tasmania.
Legal aid offices were established across the country in the 70s to enable equal access to the law and legal process. The government of the day believed equality before the law was a basic principle of society. Lawyers at Launceston's Legal Aid Office today celebrated the milestone.
Predominantly, people came to legal aid for help with both family law problems and criminal law problems. So we had shop front offices and you could dial a lawyer and get some help.
And reflected on how the service has evolved.
Back in 1974, there was still the Matrimonial Causes Act, so people had to prove, there was fault divorce. You had to prove cruelty, infidelity to end your marriage.
Peter Briffa has been with Legal Aid for 3 decades. He says a lot has changed over the years, but trust in the service has grown.
Early on, people were hesitant to speak to lawyers because they're always associated with costs. It was quite formal. There's been a marked improvement in terms of people coming in and interacting with the service in a relaxed way.
Kirsten Abercrombie manages Legal Aid's criminal practice in the Northwest. She says the service offers clients exceptional legal representation.
The type of help that they need, it varies. Some of them need help with the legal process. Some of them need help to have their hands held throughout the sentencing process.
Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
To local footy first, and it's not every day a player notches up his 200th game, but that's what Lilydale's Thane Bardenhagen will mark tomorrow. The 4-time NTFA Premiership winner hopes his side will put on a good fight against East Coast.
That's their skipper.
It's a good test for us. We're obviously playing against the 3rd spot. We're 2nd spot at the moment, so a good test to see where we're at and if there's anything we need to improve on.
Bardenhagen also won TSL Rookie of the Year back in 2013. And the Brisbane Bullets have reportedly signed Tassie young gun Kai Savage on a 3-year deal in the NBL. The 6'1" combo guard, who hails from the Northwest, will be a development player in the first 2 years before moving to a full contract in the 3rd. Well, after receiving interest from interstate, Jake Doran has re-signed with the Tasmanian Tigers for the next 3 seasons. With former Test player Matthew Wade retiring from red ball cricket, Doran is looking to settle into the wicket-keeper role.
Ideally, that would be the best case scenario, is to be the full-time keeper in the 6 years' time if I can keep my body fit and in shape.
He'll play alongside Bradley Hope and Billy Stanlake, who have also re-signed with the team. Pre-season is expected to get underway on June 3. The Kingborough Lions will be looking to regain some consistency heading into round 6 after mixed performances over the past 2 weeks. The Women's Super League team is feeling confident, preparing to face off against top-of-the-ladder Devonport Strikers this weekend.
And we're going into it knowing it's going to be a tough game, but we've definitely got it in us to push through and get the win.
In the men's comp, 5th-placed Launceston City will be looking to break into the competition's top 4 in the derby against Launceston United this weekend.
Obviously, being any sort of derby always brings a little bit of something different, but I think it's a game what we should be comfortably winning.
The game kicks off at 4:30 tomorrow at Birch Avenue.
Good evening. Friday in Hobart, 15 degrees. Launceston and the Islands all on the high today of 18. Devonport and Burnie recorded 17. Lyowini had a warmer night last night, just -4 there. Low Head and Bushy Park 16 today. St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Strawn 15. Grove 13 and Lyowini a top of 10. A few light showers over the south and east coast today. More clouds scattered over the northwest as well. Low cloud over onshore areas of the east coast of the nation. A cloud band lies across inland New South Wales, extending into Queensland and Victoria, passing cold front generated cloud further west. Tomorrow, the high will now centre to our south with a push over the southeast of Australia. The trough remains over inland Queensland and New South Wales. East to southeast winds reaching 20 knots over northern waters, but lighter around the rest of the coast. Light winds over the inland lakes. The weekend kicks off with a partly cloudy 17 in Hobart, 15 for Medina and Oatlands. Launceston, a top of 18 degrees again and partly cloudy for Devonport as well, -1 for Lyowini, a top of 12. Burnie expecting 17 and partly cloudy, a sunny day for Strawn, 5 overnight, a nice 17 tomorrow, 17 for Marrawar. St Helens a top of 16, a shower there, a shower for Swansea and 15, 16 the top for Orford. On to Sunday, a mostly sunny after patchy morning frost and fog. Another fine day across the state on Monday, the chance of a light shower in the west, partly cloudy but dry again on Tuesday with light winds. Partly cloudy and 22 in Perth and Adelaide, a top of 17 in Melbourne tomorrow. Rain on the way to Sydney and 21 for the Battle of the Bridge, Go Swans. A shower for Brisbane, and 35 again in Darwin. Partly cloudy, 11 right now in Hobart, 14 in Launceston, Devonport clear and 8 degrees. On behalf of the team, Kim, I wish you a very happy birthday for tomorrow. Word is you're approaching 50. From which direction is that?
Don't have to answer that, but thank you.